The following video is produced by University of Vermont Extension. For more information, visit uvm.edu/extension.
Mark Fashing believes that the food he produces is so good, he's willing to give it away for free.
I like to give food away. Sometimes it bugs my wife crazy, but I like to give either like a pound of hamburger or a dozen eggs to people. And if they're skeptical, I said, here, you take these eggs. I don't want your money. I want you to just get back to me. Give me some feedback. How you doing, sir? What can we get you today? Some eggs? That never fails. I've won a customer when I give food away. And they can start to realize, hey, this food has flavor. This food is great. I've just met the farmer who grew it. I've just made that connection. They're never going to do that in a store. What we do here trumps a store experience 100 times over.
What makes Fashing's charity even more unbelievable is the cost of those eggs. A dozen eggs from the Jericho Settlers Farm sell for twice what the local supermarkets charge.
You know, if someone comes up and says, you know, wow, those eggs are expensive, and you know, my stock answer could be, well, that's what we need to get for them. Sorry, you know. Or I can say, here's why they're expensive. I can go into detail and actually have a conversation with that person, not just push them off and say, okay, well, you can't afford them, you can't afford them. That doesn't do anybody any good. Doesn't do me any good as a business person. Doesn't do you any good as a customer, because you don't get to learn the story behind why Jericho Settlers Farm's eggs are the best thing going. So as my job as a business person and as a farmer is to tell you that story. Here's why.
The story about how food is produced at Jericho Settlers Farm in many ways mirrors the story of the public's increased demand for local food. There are 88 farmers markets in Vermont, at least one in every county, with some counties boasting more than 6 per week. The United States Department of Agriculture reports that Vermonters lead the U.S. per capita in local food sales, spending $10 over the U.S. average on local food per person per year.
Carrots, parsnips, celery root.
The story that farmers like Fashing are telling is about the food they grow. But in many ways, that's only the beginning of the story.
You bet. When I see them at the farmer's market, I say, come on out to the farm anytime. We've got nothing to hide. I mean, we will show you our pigs are out on pasture. Our cattle and sheep are eating grass. Our layers are running around chasing bugs outside and making great eggs. I show them all these things. You can't get any closer to your food than that. And I think that's really what people want to do. They want to get closer to their food and know the story behind it. And once they do that, you've got them. You've got a relationship with that person, and they support you.
We're really lucky in Vermont, unlike in other parts of the country where we've never lost the faces of our farmers here.
Meg Claypack is the local foods coordinator at City Market in Burlington. For her, the higher cost of local food balances out with what it costs the farmer to grow that food.
Farmers aren't getting rich quick by producing these products. It's expensive to have land in Vermont, to purchase the inputs for the farm. The cost of organic grain right now is sky high. And so, I mean, in a way, it's sort of like, why are those eggs only $5 a dozen? You know, that's less than 50 cents an egg. Seriously? You know, just the economies of scale that we've created in this country in terms of commodity crops being subsidized, fossil fuel being subsidized. When we try to shift the tables at the local level, we end up sort of fighting the uphill battle.
Consumers who buy local food know that the money they spend goes back into the local economy, which Fashing and other farmers spread across the map. The Vermont map, of course.
Jericho Settlers Farm Corporate is in Jericho in Chittenden County, and we grow crops and lease land in Richmond. We grow crops and lease land in Jericho. We purchase grain from a grain supply company down in Lester and Whiting area. The guy who's doing some high tensile fencing for us is in Fairfield. So we branch out into different aspects of Vermont just in our little small farm business. Somebody who's buying from a small farm, their money is really staying local. And if they're buying from a big supermarket, I can't guess what percentage is actually staying local. I mean, obviously the folks who are employed there are local, but maybe that's as far as it goes. I mean, who's growing the food? Does the money go back to California or Mexico or Florida? And how much of it goes there and how much of it goes back to a corporate office and, you know, who knows where.
The decision to buy food, local or not, rests with the consumer. It's a value judgment, and one value that can get overlooked in this debate is perhaps the most important. Taste matters.
Local food just tastes better, you know what I mean? We produce such beautiful food here. If we knew our farmer and our farmers were producing crappy food, we probably wouldn't be buying it. But it's really delicious, wonderful products that we have locally available.
You can't just win them over, okay, we got this local food. You're going to sell more food if you've got beautiful looking produce that tastes great and full of nutrients. The closer you can get to your food as a customer, the fresher it's going to be. You can do that from a farm. That's the beauty of it.
Depending on which food basket a consumer chooses to put their food dollars in is perhaps a question of which comes first, how food tastes or what food costs, or both. In Burlington, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.